into the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. The Royals, they're taking on the Central Arkansas Bears in just about an hour over on ESPN+. Ahead of tip-off, though, we're joined by the men's basketball head coach, Grant Leonard. How are you doing on this Wednesday?
Doing excellent. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great game day. It is suits and sneakers for the coaches here today. You want to just start, kind of talk a little bit about that initiative?
Yeah, a huge push for coaches in general. The NABC, which is the National Association of Basketball Coaches, is Coaches versus Cancer. And we try and do a week where we do suits and sneakers to bring awareness that we're fighting versus cancer like everyone else.
That's awesome. And bringing in the Bears from Central Arkansas, a big-time matchup, a big A-Sun matchup right here in Curry Arena, where you guys are 6-2 this year. What is it about Curry Arena that really seems to propel you guys to another level?
You know, first you got to bring up the crowd, and the crowd always, you know, whether it's a good run or a bad run, they seem to bring us the best out of us. And then home cooking, you know, get to sleep in your own bed and shoot in your own rims in your own arena, and always brings out the best. I think we shoot really well here.
Yeah, how do you guys, it has been a little bit of a rougher stretch as of late, but 3 of your next 4 are here at Curry Arena. You have an opportunity to find that rhythm. What's it going to take tonight and moving forward to kind of regain what you guys had going on earlier in the season?
Yeah, I think first we got to really focus on the rebounding. Every time we've won the rebounding for most of our 2 years in Division I, we've been very successful. So that's got to be a huge sticking point. We haven't won the glass in a while. And then the other thing we got to do is we really got to make free throws. On the road the other night versus JU, we missed 22 in a game we probably should have won. And we got to make those free throws down the stretch to win.
Yeah, free throws always big across college athletics. I mean, home cooking though, sometimes they fall a little bit better when you're inside your own arena. What makes it so difficult to go on the road? This is something I always wonder with coaches across, specifically college basketball, because it seems once you leave that home arena, all bets are off, and anything can happen on any night. What is the difference between playing at home and playing on the road, specifically in college basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think first it's a different rhythm. So, you know, you don't have your normal rhythm like you do here. Like, I think going in class actually helps our guys. But when you're on the road, you're in a hotel, you're kind of laying around all day, and then you're playing in a different arena, and then obviously you got the other team's fans. And so there's a bunch of different things that kind of are going against you. And the biggest thing is when you have a senior-laden or veteran club, they usually know how to navigate that. We have a very young club, so they're still struggling with the consistency of that.
Yeah, you have A.J. McKee in the backcourt with Dayton Albury, the 2 juniors. Have been pretty solid for you guys, to say the least, this year. What has it meant to your team to have slightly more experienced guys back there, but also means you have them back for next year as well? But what has that duo in the backcourt been like for you guys?
I mean, they're our 2 leading scorers, and Dayton pushes the pace, and AJ's really our most physical and vocal player, and those guys really lead our team. And so I've been really proud of what they've accomplished so far, and hopefully they can keep bringing these young guys on, and we can make some more improvements as we go.
Yeah, and Dayton Albury, I think a few times I've said, if you're watching the stream, you've seen Dayton Albury play. If you're tuning in, you've seen him play, of course. But for a large portion of the country, he might be the most electric player in college basketball you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
What makes him so dynamic for the Royals?
Yeah, I mean, first his speed is really, I mean, it's elite. Up and down the floor with pace, so he's able to get down and get into the paint before a lot of teams set their defense. And then he's got some amazing vertical ability to kind of hang in the air and finish some crafty shots. He's had a top 10 SportsCenter dunk this year.
Yes.
But he's also had a couple other finishes that were pretty unique. And I think those are what really, he's so not just fast, but persistent at getting downhill and into the paint. Puts a lot of pressure on the other team's defense.
Yeah, I think it was against Florida Gulf Coast. He had arguably a top 10 block on the other end, where he sent it back into the other team's bench. But with the Bears here tonight, what do you guys have to do? You don't have to say the whole game plan, but what are you guys kind of looking for to get that rhythm going, to get your offense going, and play good defense?
Well, I think it starts on the defensive end, and we got to be able to sustain rebounds and get stops, but they're electric in transition, and if we let them play in transition all night, they're going to score a lot of points. And last year when we played them here in the first half, we didn't do a good job of that, so it's our priority is to stop them in transition.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Coach. I don't want to keep you too long ahead of tonight's tip-off, but thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. You can catch the Royals taking on the Central Arkansas Bears at 7 over on ESPN+. We'll step aside. We'll be joined by Nick and Walker, who are on the call on ESPN+. On the other side of this break, this is the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina.
Oh, man. There's nothing I love more than a good trail mix. But a mountain bike trail, not so much. Oh, hey. My pedal. Wonder where the other one is.
From urgent care to your full recovery, OrthoCarolina is there every step of the way.
Good day, though. Good day.
Here, strength comes from within. Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next? That's up to us.
The Eats on East project showcases the Royals pride that spreads through East Boulevard, walking distance from Queens University campus. Royals fans and visitors are encouraged to take a walk to the legendary East Boulevard to culminate the true Queens experience at a variety of restaurants. Home of the Coaches Show, JJ's Red Hots was the first East on East partner.
Welcome back into the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. The Royals taking on the Bears in about 50-ish minutes over on ESPN+. Ahead of their call down there courtside, we got Nick Kloss and Walker Mail here to preview the game. We got a little bit of an A-Sun battle here tonight. Big game for both sides. Walker, I'll start with you. What are you expecting when the Bears try and take down the Royals?
Yeah, I think if you see what the Bears have done all season long, they put up a lot of shots, and it's not that they're the most efficient team in the world, but if they get hot from deep, then they can sneak up on you. If you look at their point totals all throughout the season, they're up and down. It's crazy. You're seeing 90-point totals. They're flirting with the century mark, and then they'll throw up 50 or 60, and that's because there's real high variance when you take on the Central Arkansas team. I wonder if Queens can be consistent, and if you can continue to play the game where you still want to get up and down the floor, maybe get some easy transition buckets. And this is a game where you can get a big lead if you're Queens, if they're missing their shots too. But if they're hitting, then maybe it even just goes Central Arkansas's way.
Yeah, Nick, this is a Central Arkansas Bears defense that leaves a little bit to be desired. What can the Royals do to take advantage of that type of matchup?
I mean, with the way they can shoot at home, they can take complete advantage of what Central Arkansas is going to give them. I was able to talk to Coach Boone earlier today and talk to him kind of about the pace of play differences, which we talk about so often with Queens because of how fast they like to go. And you know, he was saying in practice, he was like, hey, we tried to mimic it to the best of your ability, but it's hard to mimic Dayton Albury flying down the court in 5 seconds. So defensively, it'll be interesting to see how they try to combat that style. But the Royals, they can get hot if Chris Ashby's doing great from behind the arc. I mean, this could be a game where we see them get a nice season high in the ASUN maybe in points.
Yeah, I'd love to see BJ McLaurin get going too. I think it was against Gardner Webb. He was lights out from behind the arc along with Chris Ashby. That was a fun game. So seeing that would be great. And I think for Dayton Albury, you remember when you played 2K, he had the badge one-man fast break?
Yeah.
I think he personifies what that badge really means.
When we're calling it, we say it all the time. You can blink and he's on the other end.
Well, and even, there are plenty of badges, whatever it is that indicates athleticism. That's what Dayton Albury brings to the table. And what's great about Dayton is you've seen him get more comfortable as the season has gone on. You're seeing him on a tear the last few games, but really, I would say over the last 10, he started to figure it out, understanding when to dish it to A.J. McKee, when he needs to take over. In the half court, if things kind of stall out, it's we need to get to the rim, and we need to get there badly. And Dayton, it doesn't matter if you double team him, somehow he's able to knife through the defense and just get there with explosion and craftiness. What a special player he's been all year.
Yeah, he just cuts through the trees. I mean, he's not the tallest guy on the court, but he can be the tallest guy on the court the way he plays. Walker, is there a matchup you're really keying in on the game within the game for tonight?
Yeah, I think whoever is going to be defending Tucker Anderson, the leading scorer for Central Arkansas, because he is a gunner, and so I wonder if you're having A.J. McKee on him, who is a great perimeter defender, but Anderson more of a forward. They have a couple of guards out there too, and so how much are they just going to give him different looks, right? Are you going to bring in a Bryce Cash to get physical with him? A.J. McKee, maybe a little bit shorter as that guard, but also makes it hard for him to put the ball on the deck. And then also when he's running off screens, trying to free his shot up, how are they going to play him in a sense of making sure whoever is on him, they fight through that screen, try to slither in before they get blocked completely. Like, I'm just looking at that defensive matchup on whoever is defending him, because I think Grant Leonard is going to give him quite a bit of different looks.
Yeah, and the same thing. Tucker Anderson's really the guy you're going to circle on this Bears roster. And as far as the matchup goes, like you said, McKee could be on him. That could be something fun to watch. I'm interested to see how the freshman responds on the road. He's their leading scorer. That's a lot to put on a first-year guy in college basketball. Their coaching staff said they've loved the potential he had coming in to Central Arkansas, and he's really stepped up. But, it's hard to lead a team when you're in your first year. So I'm interested to see how on the road, how he responds against a tough team, and especially if A.J. McKee's guarding him. That's a tough pairing you're going to have to go up against all night.
Yeah, no slight to mid-major, but you don't often see freshmen step into a mid-major lineup and make an immediate impact like he's making. And now on the road, we're talking with Grant Leonard a little earlier about just the difference in playing at home, and then when you go and you're sleeping in a hotel room and you're doing everything in someone else's gym, it can be tough, especially in a place where the Royals are 6-2 this season inside Curry Arena. But over the last 9, the Royals are sitting with a 1-8 record. It's been a little bit of a rough stretch as of late. Walker, I want to start with you. What has been kind of the issue up to this point with the Royals, specifically over their last few games?
Well, I think if you look back, yes, you can go to the strength of schedule early on. I think that was a legitimate reason. Power 5 candidates that you're playing, ranked top 25
tournament
ranked teams, for sure, NCAA tournament squads, that really hurts them. But they get blown out against Stetson, who's a good basketball team, and that really happened in the second half. They lose against Jacksonville by a couple, then they lose to North Florida. All right, now it's time in conference play where you want to see more shots go in. I think defensively, this team is a little more susceptible and a little bit more vulnerable than years past. I think losing Gavin Raines really hurt. That's a big that can step out on the perimeter and move his feet so well, and was one of the best rebounders in all of college basketball. Like, it's crazy to think that, but that's what he was, especially offensive glass. And they don't have that as much anymore. And so BJ McLaurin, great shooter, stretch big, but struggles a little bit in the pick and roll. You can see that they attack him a lot in those instances. And so I think defensively, while this team has gotten better individually, I do think that they're still trying to figure out how they can consistently play good defense and try to get them back on track. But they are better at home, so it's a great remedy to try to get back on track here tonight.
And Nick, through the next 4 here at Curry Arena, how do they get back on track? Walker hit a little bit of it, but what do you think?
I mean, them being home more now is obviously something that's going to go in their favor. You mentioned it being 6-2 here on the year, but it's all defense. I mean, you look at it, they're averaging the most points allowed in the entire ASUN. They're not getting the stops when they need them. Like he said, like Walker said, individually, there's been improvement defensively, but as a unit, they're just not able to get key stops when needed. So like a game like Jacksonville, they're up in the first half. You think that they're going to come away with a good ASUN win on the road, ends up falling through their fingertips, and they're now another loss in the ASUN away from home, and they're having to come back home and make up all those games. And then you get to North Florida and they just blow them out. So it's the defensive side of the ball that's been hurting the Royals, and they got to step up, get the stops in key moments, and come away with some wins.
Yeah, big opportunity for him tonight. Before I let you guys go, need the score predictions, as always. Walker, you can start.
This one's harder than other games. I have no clue what this one's going to be. I have a much better idea of what Queens might score. I'll play it safe and then just try to split the difference in the 70s, but there really is a lot of variance with Central Arkansas, right? So I'll go Queens wins. Give me 75-67. I'll go with the Queens victory, but I mean, it could be all over the place here.
I'm going to go Queens wins 81-72.
Okay.
I think they win. I don't think they get a double-digit win, but I do think Queens is the better team tonight, and they get a good win at home.
I'm going 77-70. I feel like all of those could make a lot of people at home happy.
We're all in the ball.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for taking the time, and good luck on the call.
Thank you.
We'll step aside and be back with more Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. But first, we have a interview from Kat Biancardi with men's volleyball head coach Jeremy Price.
What up, Royals Nation? Men's volleyball head coach, 7th season, Jeremy Price. I'm with. Coach, so far 3-3 after the first 6 games. Give me some insight of the team's morale.
I think we're in a good spot. When you're 3-3 and coming off 3 straight wins, it's a little bit easier to have be a little more cheery in the gym, getting ready for the upcoming week. But we really challenged ourselves in that first week. We played 2 matches against Princeton, and they start off in the top 15, and they're a really good team. And but we bounced back from a tough first week to win 3 straight last week. It helped that they were all at home. We played really well, and we've got some momentum going into our first extended road trip of the year.
Well, you can't ask for anything better than having that type of start and just recovering so well. And speaking about your team's roster, this year we had some transfers come into your program that made a really good impact this season. What has been your approach to the transfer portal during the offseason?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success, especially with the grad transfer route. And I've been really pleased with how we've been able to use the grad transfers. The McCall School of Business is a very attractive option for student athletes looking to extend their career, and for Shafar Grant to come in and has done a great job. And really, he's somebody that we competed with or against when he was at Tusculum, and he's one of those guys you really would watch on film and then watch him play against your team and be like, I really wish he was on our team.
Yeah, I want that guy.
And it's really nice having him even just for this year in our gym, and we were able to pick up some guys from Limestone and St. Francis Brooklyn, 2 programs that were discontinued. And so those are good opportunities for us to make our entire gym better and improve our depth.
Absolutely. And speaking of opportunity, it's your first year in the MIVA conference, and it's the first game coming up February 2nd. What are you looking forward to most in this new conference?
It's exciting. I coached in the MIVA for 5 years.
Oh, so you got a little bit of experience under your belt.
I've been to all these places, but and really our guys have too. I mean, we've been prepping for this move and this opportunity really for the last couple of years. It had been the long-term vision from Sherry on down when I was hired to move into a conference, and to move into one of the top conferences in the country like the MIVA is very exciting for us. The poll came out today. Ohio State's number 1 in the AVCA poll, and so for us to be in a conference with the number 1 team in the country is pretty exciting. There's a lot of other MIVA teams in there, so I think it's going to be the end of the beginning, if you want to talk, paraphrase Churchill, and say we've been building to this for a while, and now we're moving into being a conference affiliate. We've been an independent for the first 6 years of our program, and I think it'll be really exciting when we go to Quincy, Illinois, and walk out on Friday, February 2nd, and that first serve comes across the net, because it really will be a new chapter in Queens men's volleyball.
Absolutely. And Queens made the jump to D1 last year, but you've been basically D1 this whole time. We've talked about it before. You've been playing the biggest schools, the small schools. Explain the uniqueness again, just about men's volleyball and the sport itself.
Yeah, so men's volleyball is unique in that Division 1 and 2 are combined. And so it's called a National Collegiate Championship. So Division 1 and 2 institutions compete for the same national championship. The MIVA, as it's currently constructed, has 6 Division 1 institutions and 3 Division 2 institutions. And there is a pretty big variance. So you have a school a Big Ten school like Ohio State, and then a couple, Division 2s. One of the Division 2 institutions, so Lewis University, has been very good. They were in the national championship, I think, in 2015. And so there's really no difference for us. The conference affiliation is a big deal for us. That's the equivalent of us transitioning to Division 1. But starting in, I believe, it's the second year of our program's existence. When we were a Division 2 institution back in 2019, we played Hawaii. Yeah. And they won the national championship that year. And so we have had the opportunity to compete against the best teams on the biggest stages. And so again, going to the MIVA, going to a conference that has produced, I think, 5 out of the last 12 national champions, is an opportunity for us to step up on a big stage week after week.
Absolutely, and be able to compete on the national stage and have Queens names be associated with the Ohio States. And speaking of the AVCA/NVA National Collegiate Men's Volleyball poll just came out right now. Ohio State's #1, those Buckeyes. You got them coming into your den, Charlotte, February 23rd and 24th. Going to be live on ESPN. How important is that game?
I think, again, anytime you play the #1 team in the country, you're measuring yourself against the best. And we value that opportunity to play the top-ranked team in the country or top 10-ranked team in the country. And we've had the opportunity to do that often. But any chance you get to do that, it's something to be embraced. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in the local volleyball community. A lot of coaches, juniors coaches, high school coaches reaching out. We want to bring our team to watch you compete. And so, I think there's going to be a lot of interest in that. We get them 2 nights in a row. So we get them on the Friday night and then the Saturday as well. We're doing 2-match series with each team. So it's going to be a good test for us. But again, you want to play the best. And really the guys in our program, they came to Queens because we scheduled aggressively and they wanted to play the best. They wanted to measure themselves against the best teams and the best players in the country. And they're as excited as anyone.
And so that's something that's been the style of, Coach Jeremy Price's chapter at Queens Volleyball, is being able to compete against the best. And finally, with that opportunity coming up, February 23rd, 24th, live on ESPN Plus, folks, you want Royals Nation, the ones that are here, to come pack Curry Arena.
Absolutely.
What's your message to them?
Come on out. You're going to see 2 really good teams and some really good players. The reigning National Player of the Week is on Ohio State. So you're going to see a collection of really good players, 2 good teams battling out for a conference, hopefully a conference win.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck the rest of the season, Coach.
Thanks, Kat.
Back into the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. We're joined now by the women's lacrosse coach, Kelly McQuilkin. Kelly, how are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic, and big news coming out. You guys just signed, I think, 12 new freshmen coming in.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that class as you guys inked them?
Yeah, so first full Division I class, really excited. We have girls coming from a little bit of everywhere.
I was looking at a little bit of, I think one North Carolina, Canada's in there.
Yeah, some Maryland, some New York. We might have a Florida mixed in there. So yeah, looking to expand our geography a little bit with our recruiting.
What was that approach like? Did you guys go out wanting to expand that footprint, or is that just kind of how lacrosse recruiting takes you?
Yeah, I would say not necessarily. We're looking for speed, we're looking for grit, for passion, and these girls sit out through the process. And I also want somebody who wants Queens, so that was really it at the end of it.
That's awesome. And another big thing, news coming out of the women's lacrosse world as you guys are gearing up for your season to start here soon. Picked 4th in the A-Sun poll after finishing 4th in the A-Sun a year ago. Was that ranking a shock to you guys? Were you expecting a little higher, or is that right around where you were hoping so you could surprise some people going into the year?
You know, I don't read too much into the preseason rankings. I really like for us to be the underdog, and then it's all about where we finish. So our goal obviously is the 8-Sun championship, but first we need to have our out-of-conference play, and then we need to make the conference championship first. So.
What's it going to take this season to get to the A-Sun championship and win it and finish the year holding up a trophy?
Yeah, you know, the A-Sun is really unique right now. I mean, Jacksonville's won it 5-6 years in a row. Liberty, Coastal, I mean, tough games last year, really good teams, and now we have 2 teams that were in Division I for the first time last year, and now us and Lindenwood are in year 2. So it's a great conference, very competitive, so it's going to take a lot. So we got to be on our A game, but I have full trust in our team.
And Kayleen Favreau just picked all A-Sun, there we go, preseason team.
Yeah.
What do you expect out of her going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, much deserved, but she couldn't do it without the teammates around her, and I know that would be her exact comment with the honor, but she's just a great leader. I mean, she's a hard-nosed attacker. She gets to the cage, so a lot of expectations for her, but at the same time, like, she just needs to play and have fun, and she just lightens up the others around her, and they all work really well together.
Anyone else on the team that you're really excited to see play this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna let that be a surprise for you. But no, we have some really great transfers coming in. We have some really great freshmen that are gonna help us. Also, I mean, returners are coming back. We have experience from last year, so I'm excited to see who's gonna blossom, but I'm all about the team, so I really don't want to point out 1 or 2. I'm really excited to see how this team and this unit are gonna work out together.
Yeah, spoken like a true coach. Going into your second year as the head coach, you've got the coach speak part of it down pat. That is a 10 out of 10.
Good.
Going into the season as the team, I'll focus on the team now.
Yeah.
Can you kind of describe the team, what type of mental makeup these guys have, and what you expect out of them going into the year?
Yeah, you know, we have a mix. We have a mix of experience, and we also have a lot of young, new players that are going to come and help us. So excited to see the leadership that has developed and is continuing to develop on the team, and also the young guns who are coming in and ruffling some feathers. So the competition at practice is fun right now. They are competing. We keep score on almost every drill that we do. Calling fouls tight because it's pretty physical right now, but they're just a joy to coach, and practice is really enjoyable, honestly.
And last year you guys had one of the more stout defenses in the A-Sun. What does that mean to you? Because you kind of have that defensive background from your playing days at Towson.
Yeah, I have high expectations for defenses in general.
Do you coach them a little harder than you might on the offensive side, or is it equal coaching?
I would say it's equal now that I have to be in charge of both. But yeah, I expect a lot out of defense for sure.
Do you expect them to take a step forward this year?
I do. I mean, we're playing a mixture of defenses right now in practice, so we can support our offense and be a good scout defense for them, but also pushing our IQ, pushing when can we send doubles, when can we make in-game adjustments depending on personnel. So pushing them a lot on the IQ piece right now. So a mixture of 3 defenses that we're working on in practice. So we'll see.
Is that like, I'm a lacrosse rookie.
Okay.
So when you say mixture of defense, is that like man, zone, that type of stuff?
Yeah, I watch a lot of college basketball.
Okay.
So thinking like full court press, man, zone, mixture of,
little hybrid action.
Little hybrid.
Do you get some of your play calls from the basketball game and vice versa? Do basketball coaches get some of their plays from the lacrosse?
I'm not sure. I let the girls name their plays, to be honest. We have one named Bananas after today, so I'll let you think about that one.
I'm excited to see that one in play this season.
Yeah, you should be.
All right. Going into this year, what do you have any of the games, that's the word, circled and really looking forward to, or are you going to say each game means the same as the year goes on?
Yeah, I mean, I think each game means the same in the sense that we want to be present and focus on the game ahead of us, but definitely after last year, I know there's a couple, starting with our first one, hopefully EC is not watching, but I mean, that was a heartbreak at the end of that game last year. We lost in the last minute, and just seeing a team that put so much blood, sweat, and tears into a game to come up with a loss. I mean, honestly, that loss fueled us for last year and allowed us to go on the run. So I know there's a couple games like that that are circled. However, we have a competitive schedule, so we can't overlook anybody. I think after having a good year last year, nobody's going to underestimate us. So we're going to get everybody's best game, and that's what I want to give everybody else as well.
That's awesome. Well, good luck, Coach.
Yeah,
Have a great season as it's right around the corner. Getting ready for it.
Yep, 2.5 weeks.
Coming quick. So we'll step aside and be back with the men's lacrosse coach, Nick Colpitz. He sat down with Cappy and Cardi for another interview, and we'll be back on the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina.
What up, Royals Nation? Men's lacrosse season is right around the corner, and I'm with first-year head coach Nick Colpitz. Coach, as the season is getting ready to get started, what can Royals Nation expect?
Yeah, I think you can expect a team that's hungry in year 2 of this transition. We have a lot of returners who saw a lot of playing time in the first year at Division I, and with some help of some younger guys, I think hopefully we're going to grow on both sides of the ball. Defensively, we have guys like Hayden Thompson and Colby Suglia who saw a lot of playing time, and then in goal, you have Wesley Week, Gage Turner, Jason Alexander, who have done a great job, in preseason so far. So defensively, we bring a lot back, and then Jacob Schreck has helped tremendously in that area of the field. And then offensively, there's going to be some familiar faces with Brendan Nace and Hunter Meyer and some of those guys, Jack Royer, Ryan Lightsey, but there's a lot of young guys on that side of the ball. So I think there's going to be some growth on that end, especially early in the year. But overall, I'm really excited to see kind of the steps we take here in year 2.
Absolutely, and you mentioned some players' names, but as that start of the season begins, who should we look out for?
Yeah, I think, the first guy that's going to pop off the page probably is Colby Suglia, just because he's one of our bigger guys on the team, and just the style of play that he has is pretty fun to watch. Hayden is a guy who played a lot of minutes for us, so we're expecting some good things from him. And then, Jacob Schreck is on the defensive end. He's all over the field for us. So I think defensively, those are the 3 guys that I would really, key in on. And then offensively, we returned Jack Royer, who was our leading point scorer last year. Hunter Meyer and Brendan Nace played a ton for us, and we relied a lot on them as younger guys in their careers. So I think offensively, we're going to have some good pieces there to build off of last year, and it's going to be really fun to see the next steps that those guys take here in this year coming up.
And speaking about your roster, right? 23 first-year players. Okay, we got to know, was it planned to do that?
Yeah. I think there's 2 ways that you can do this transition, right? I think a lot of people see Colorado and they see kind of what Deion Sanders did, where he got there and he decided, I'm just going to bring in a whole new crop of players and start fresh. I think for me and kind of what we're trying to build culturally, we want to do it a little bit more organically, where we want to make sure that the guys that are here that call Queens home, it continues to be their home, and then probably over the next 2 to 3 years, we'll be one of the youngest teams in Division I. With our 24s and 25s coming in the next couple of years. So I think the idea is be one of the youngest teams in the country maybe this year and the next year, and by the time those guys are upperclassmen, now you're one of the most experienced teams when they are in the later years of their career here. So that's kind of by design.
And that's just how time goes, where you're growing as the players are growing too. And when you think about the way that these new guys and then some of those older guys like Jacob Schreck and Jack Royer, how are they meshing together?
Yeah, I think that's always a concern, is just like, do the older guys feel like the younger guys are kind of coming in and taking over? But I think we started, to be really proactive in that area, starting in the summer, where we were putting them all in group chats and making sure that our upperclassmen were kind of reaching out to those freshmen. So it starts with being proactive, and then, the message from our coaching staff is these guys are here to help us. I think our returners were recruited when the school was a top 20 program in Division II, and they want to get back to that. So they're looking for as much help as we can get to get back to where we want to be as a program. So I think they've been really welcoming, and they've done a great job. Yeah.
And when you think about the way that you're making it your own version of the Colpix era here at Queens, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. There's two kind of ideas behind that. The first one is just what our program stands for, and every guy, we quiz them on it every time they come back to the over break. So our core values of sacrifice, accountability, love, and every time, those are stuff that we put up in our locker room and things that we really preach to our guys on a day in and day out basis. And then, on the field is our on-field identity. We want to be known for being, the most prepared team in the country. I don't know if we're ever going to be truly the fastest or truly the strongest, but we can control whether or not we are the most prepared. So I think it starts there. I want our guys to have a lot of energy, not even, just the guys on the playing field, but on the bench as well. So we want to play with a lot of passion. And then, I think there's one thing, if you can be aggressive and go out and hope to be dictating, right, you got to pack a little punch sometimes. So those 3 Ps is kind of what we talk about as our on-field identity, and that'll take time, and it'll probably change year over year of what it looks like, but those are the things that we preach to our guys kind of on a daily basis within our program.
Well, folks, I've been there on the sidelines. There's nothing short of enthusiasm and energy from this group and this culture that's been created. And speaking about identity, there is a lot of Canadians on your team. Just describe about that. What's up with it?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize when you think Canada, you think the national game is hockey, but little known fact is lacrosse is actually the national game of Canada. So it's a really big sport up there, and there's a lot of talent. And for some reason, once you get one, it's easier to get another. So I think they've just kind of followed each other. And, Queens has had a long history of good relationships with a lot of outstanding players from Canada. And, it goes to say, the NLL draft picks that we had this year with Bennett Smith, Joey Zabo, Matt Abbott, and Jacob Bowen, I think that's only going to continue from here. So, we could always use a couple more, though. So.
Anytime something's good, you just want to keep making it even better.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you, Coach, so much for your time, and I appreciate it, and best of luck this season.
Thank you so much. Go Royals.
Welcome back into the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. The Royals taking on the Central Arkansas Bears in just a few minutes over on ESPN+. We want to say thank you to Grant Ledden for taking the time to talk, and Kelly McQuilkin, women's lacrosse coach, and Jeremy Price and Nick Colpitz as well to sit down and talk with Kat Biancardi. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Queens Coaches Show presented by OrthoCarolina. Head on over to ESPN Plus and catch the tip-off of Royals Bears in some ASUN action in just a few minutes.